Ayo and hello everyone, it's me, your weird uncle, and in today's very first official video of this new YouTube channel, we're going to be creating our very own rendition of the Man of Steel. That's right, we're creating our very own Superman, utilizing a character from the public domain. I think it's only fair for us to create our very own rendition of the first superhero to ever define the superhero genre. I think you guys heard enough of me talking, so how about we get drawing? Public domain, Superman, let's go! And we begin the designing process. So, the character that I'm utilizing today to create my pseudo-Superman is actually a character by the name of Amazing Man. And you can already tell as to why I wanted to use this character in particular. Super, amazing, both ending in man. I thought it was a really awesome type of situation. But for some more context, let me give you a little bit more info about the public domain character of Amazing Man. The character's real name is actually John Adams, but his first appearance was in Amazing Man Comics number 5 from September of 1939, and it was created by Bill Everett. His story is very interesting, and keep in mind that a lot of these characters were made, of course, by the 30s and 40s, which was, of course, the World War II era. So understand that some things are going to be very classical cliché to the nine. So, for instance, if I had to give you a bit of a glimpse of his origin story, in 1914, an orphan child named John Adams was chosen by a Tibetan Council of 7 to be trained to both mental and physical perfection. When he was 25, he was ready to fight crime in the outside world. That's more or less just the first sentence of that description, but already that says a lot about how whacked out this kind of concept for a superhero could ever be. And for me, I decided to take this, well, albeit if you see the design on this side over here, you can more or less tell that I wanted to go the complete and total opposite and cover him up completely. Obviously, I ended up watching the James Gunn Superman movie, peak film by the way, so I wanted to kind of render or draw out the costume within, well, that kind of style. So I decided to give him a full coverage costume by giving him the red boots, the red underwear, and of course, to really round it out, giving him red gloves, or some variation of that on his arms because it doesn't really feel fully rounded, and of course giving him a nice red cape. Now for the logo, that was interesting. I actually had to go and custom design that entire thing on my own. What I found very interesting about it, or at least my thought process going into it, I wanted it to feel like James Gunn's Superman. The logo was based off of the Kingdom Come arc from a Superman story that I'm not really familiar with, but I liked how they tried making the S feel very, very alien. So I kind of wanted to do something similar to that by obviously making the more, like the bridge part within the letter A, the more larger, more wider aspect of it, and making the rest of it look a little bit smaller. Again, it could look like some variation of alien-related linguistics, because, I thought that would be a little interesting. So yes, this here, of course, is my rendition of the Man of Steel, Amazing Man. So, of course, if you're going to have a Superman, you're obviously going to need to have some variation of a Lex Luthor, and I was really trying my best to find one. It's not easy trying to find some bald, rich billionaire dude that has a hatred towards his own hero. So instead, I decided to look into seeing what kind of rich, related character that happened to be evil, and, well, this character popped up, Dr. Nikolai. Essentially, this character, who was made in the 1800s and was in a magazine known as A Bit of Fortune in Windors, or what, I don't even know how to properly say that. But you can more or less see from this description of who created the character, and, well, his whole little bit goes as follows, that he's a criminal mastermind and a genius, and has two major goals in his life, seeking world domination and immortality. Well, switched around. So I decided to kind of utilize this character, and instead of trying to make this character bald, I decided to implement the idea of him having a bigger forehead, obviously having, less hair, and making him very civilized. He's a very skinny man, but he is smart by every degree. And of course, he's into the occults and all the crazy mythical related nonsense. So imagine this kind of character going up against a character like that of Amazing Man or Superman. So I think it would be very interesting. I also gave him a purple-like amulet that could technically be considered like his kryptonite, so then that way he can use it against him whenever they have their conflicting battles and whatnot. What do you guys think of this rendition of, well, my public domain rendition of Lex Luthor that is simply known as Dr. Nikolai. It was a really stupid idea for me to trim my beard because now I look like a babyface man and I'm in my 20s. How can this even happen? Anyways, if you guys have been enjoying this video, make sure to go down and hit the like button to let me know that you have been enjoying this video so far. And heck, while you're down there, you might as well go to the comment section and comment the words amazing to let me know you made it at least this far into the video. Enough of me talking, and how about we get to this amazing comic book cover. John Adams had always felt a tug in his bones when the stars were out, a fire in his chest when others felt only fear. Raised in a quiet town of Sentinel's Reach by a kindly clockmaker and his wife, John lived a simple life of dusty books, late-night stargazing, and dreams too big for the world around him. But John's life would change on his 20th birthday when the skies split open. A burning crystal shard crashes into the woods beyond town, breathing with an ancient energy, drawn by something older than instinct. John found it buried into the earth, not a meteor, but a vessel, humming with signals and symbols that lit up at his touch. The moment his fingers brushed the surface, a rush of memories that were not his own flooded his mind's vision of a pocket dimension and a planet within it known as Verelia, a world of shining towers and stars that whisper in the night sky, now lost to time. And the truth, he was not born on Earth. He is the last child of a once great but now dead civilization. John, a living beacon of their knowledge, hopes, and regrets. His name is not just John Adams, but Zareth Ka, the star-born sentinel. And his destiny was not to live a meek and quiet life, but to keep the bloodline of Heredia alive, and to guide, protect, and awaken the light in a world teetering towards its demise. After all was said and done, John's Varelian powers awakened. He's now stronger, faster, and has more enhanced senses. Now John set out to achieve the dreams he'd always aspired to achieve while making the world an amazing place for others to achieve theirs. John's eyes glowing with clarity, strength coursing through his body like running lava. He's no longer walking. He stood watch while the innocent cried out. He answers, not as a man burdened by destiny, but as a symbol rising from the ashes of one world to shield another. Thus was born Amazing Man, the mythically cosmic sentinel, and Earth's last hope against the shadows that devour his own world. And there we go. We have our officialized comic book cover for our pseudo Superman, aka the Amazing Man. What do you guys think of this rendition of the character? Let me know in the comments down below. But other than that, I had a blast putting this entire piece together, and I'm not gonna lie, this is one of my most favorite comic cover pieces I've ever done. Yeah, sure, it might be simple, but it's just something about, like, I guess the title heading and the posing of Amazing Man and him flying through space and whatnot. I don't know, there's just something about it that I'm just really loving. So, you know what, outside of that, I'm probably going to keep gushing on about this, comic cover poster thingamathing for God knows how long, so I think it's probably best if I just start to end the video here. So, to my fellow weirdos out there, make sure to follow these 3 simple rules to stay awesome, stay weird, and to keep life to the easiest. Always remember that art inspires all, but you can inspire more. And of course, never ever forget to stay ultra. Okay, now that we got all that out of the way, I can focus on to my next DC-related project, and this one is definitely gonna be a blast. Oof, I already got the idea for it, but who knows, maybe some of my commenters or followers might actually have something better, but I think probably to have something in mind now would be a lot better for later down the road. So I should probably just start getting a bit of a head start. All right. This is going to be a fun video to remaster again.